So we are still celebrating the new year, and New Year's is also the perfect time for new beginnings. And when we talk about new beginnings, we often refer to our job. The discipline of UX writing is home to many career switchers, and many of them switch to UX writing because they consider it to be a dream job. You know, it's a promising field. It allows you to work both analytically and creatively. It is well paid, and of course, it's still super hyped. Now, the concept of the dream job has been discussed a lot in the UX community lately, and there seems to be kind of a disagreement on whether or not using the concept of the dream job as a North Star in your career development is actually a good idea, because doing so might lead to a lot of disappointment. However, the good news is there's actually some science about the dream job, and this is what we're going to talk about today. Hi, my name is Kat and I teach people about writing in tech, and on this channel you will find everything that you need to know, especially about UX writing. So if you want to learn more about that, make sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell. So some time ago, my amazing fellow UX writer Hassan Barkir shared an interesting thought about finding your dream job, and I would like to pick up on that. By the way, make sure you follow Hassan on LinkedIn, because he often sparks amazingly interesting discussions about different topics in both life and UX. And a big thank you to you, Hassan, for sharing this exact post with us on LinkedIn, and also for letting me quote it here. Now, this is the post that Hassan shared, and it says, "Don't take a job offer out of desperation. Take the job if it feeds your family, puts a roof over your head, pays your bills, keeps you warm, and keeps you out of the streets." Most of these influencers are not struggling, and this know your worth statement is not realistic in this economy. And ultimately, take the job until you find another one, a worthy one. In the meantime, do your best to survive. Now, I think the problem is that we as people working in UX are particularly expected to perceive our jobs as dream jobs because we work for the people, right? We are advocates for the user. This job has a big purpose, right? I mean, more purpose than all the other office jobs, the boring office jobs, right? But then why do our jobs sometimes feel boring too? Is that okay? Is our job even a dream job? Well, I personally think that the concept of the dream job is quite toxic. Why? Because of three reasons. Number one, it is such a big, huge concept that creates very high expectations. Having a dream job implies that you feel like you found the one right thing to do, right? One in a million, and it just feels so right. And I think we all kind of wonder, is this even realistic? So is there even a job out there that feels like a dream job all the time? And when our job only feels like a dream job part-time, is it a dream job? Number two, the concept of the dream job is often used against employees and applicants, and this is very interesting. Just like hustle culture, which told us that we just need to work hard enough to reach our goals in life, the dream job is a concept that companies may use to tell us, hey, you know what, sweetie? I've got a real dream job here, you know, a purpose-driven thing that you will do here. You will have so much fun with your coworkers, and you will work for amazing clients, and you will have amazing projects. As in, this is a dream job, so we don't need to make this about money and benefits, right? And number three, it is vague. What even does that mean, a dream job? Am I just looking for a job that feels great all the time, or that gives my life a purpose, or both? And if I can have only one of that, is that still a dream job? So the concept of the dream job is quite flawed, right? But still, we need something that guides our way when searching for a new job or trying to enter a new career path. I mean, there must be something between it pays my bills and it is my absolutely heavenly all-time favorite thing to do in the world. Because what we do know is that the overall well-being of most employed people is strongly influenced by their job satisfaction. So this is about our happiness, right? And our well-being. So what exactly should we look for? Now, luckily, science has our back here. It has the answer, because there are numerous studies that gather data on what makes people genuinely love their job and what makes them happy about their job, and also what gives them the sort of well-being that we're all looking for. And we have a lot of empirical data about that, so data from interviews and surveys, and we also know what psychology and biology say about our happiness in the workplace. And today I want to share 5 major insights that I found in this research, and I also want to share how they relate to UX in general and UX writing in particular. Number 1. Look for stability and not the highest salary. Now, studies show aiming for a stable job situation instead of just shooting for the highest salary possible is often more beneficial for long-term satisfaction and well-being. We all know that stability can provide a sense of security and predictability, and it reduces our stress and anxiety associated with financial and job insecurity. It allows us to plan for the future, and it supports a balanced life, both professionally and personally. Also, on the other hand, studies have shown that up to a certain salary, and this is very interesting, our perceived happiness increases, and from that on, it just doesn't make our lives a lot better. A study from 2010, for example, shows that for the US, at that point in time, 2010, that salary was $75,000 a year. This is where salary-related happiness reaches a plateau, and anything higher than that doesn't make you a lot happier. Of course, this number varies depending on the time and place, but there is a plateau. So more money does not equal more happiness after a certain point. And at the same time, we have to keep in mind, companies won't just give you a lot of money for nothing, right? More money often means more responsibility, more stress, more pressure. So that probably is not a smart trade concerning your psychological and physical well-being. Facts are, it can and will be tough if you want to shoot for high salaries, and therefore choosing stability over a high salary is probably a good idea, especially if you are a UX writer. I, for example, was once approached by a large tech company whose name we all know, and they offered me a pretty high salary, but the position was not permanent. It was only a 1-year contract, which is cool, I guess, but I would have needed to leave my old permanent employment position behind. And of course, working as a UX writer for a company for 12 months, you can barely start getting familiar with the brand and the people and the product, right? Until you already have to go back job hunting again. And we all know finding a good job as a UX writer is hard, so we might create a bigger problem with opting for these crazily high paid jobs, because there's always a price to pay, and we need to be aware of that. Number 2. Look for culture, not prestige. Now, when we think about a dream job, we often want to shoot for the stars and the moon, right? We want to make our parents proud. We want to be admired by our friends. And you know what? We also want to be proud of ourselves, right? This can be partially about the salary, but it can also be about the status, you know, working for a company with a big name, having a high position in the hierarchy of a company, etc. And apart from that, we also know that recruiters love reading big names in our resume and portfolio, right? And we all also know these labels that people carry in their LinkedIn bio, like ex-Meta and former Google and ex-Netflix. So there is something about big prestigious companies, right? Now keep in mind that you spend a lot of time at your job every day, and you spend comparably little time being proud of yourself for working for the big company name. From my personal experience, I can say feeling cool because you work for one of the big names or because you have a head of position or a lead position will wash away quickly. What sticks around is the quality of your working environment. Is it positive? Is it full of kindness? Are you allowed to be your authentic self? Is your craft respected? Can you learn and grow there? Now, Forbes quotes quite a few studies that confirm how important organizational culture is for our happiness in the workplace. For example, 71% of employees would look for new opportunities elsewhere if they feel that the culture around them doesn't match their values anymore. And you know, this is a very important question for UX writing. If you have to constantly fight for your seat at the table, if designers and developers get paid a lot more than you because you are just the writer, if you have to explain to your team and stakeholders over and over again that they need to involve you, but they just see you as the text person they can consult last minute when they need something, this is not a dream job, no matter how big the company name, okay? Remember, prestige can open doors for you in the future, but it is only what others say about your work. Culture is what you really experience. And by the way, if you're one of the people who puts ex-Meta and former Airbnb in your LinkedIn bio, in 2024, this doesn't make you look good, it just makes you look elitist. You're definitely not better than someone who has built up UX writing processes and systems in a small startup from scratch. And you're definitely not better than UX writing freelancers who have helped several different companies, big or small, to reach their goals, while at the same time managing their own freelancing business. Number 3, look for purpose, not passion. Finding a job that makes you happy seems to be all about finding a role that resonates with your core values, right? So your work should feel meaningful and impactful to you. For their study on purpose in the workplace, McKinsey interviewed many employed professionals from different fields and jobs and positions. And 70% of their respondents say that their sense of purpose in life is largely defined by their work. So it is obvious that our job being purposeful increases our overall life quality, which is a huge insight, right? Passion, on the other hand, is a problematic concept. First of all, many people don't know their passion. Second, many people have a passion that they cannot turn into a job. And third, just because you have a passion for something doesn't mean the corresponding job is a great choice for you. For example, I always hear, I have a passion for writing, so I want to become a UX writer. And by the way, this was me 7 years ago, okay? So I can relate to that. But writing professionally, especially in UX, is far from carrying out your passion, okay? It is meetings, it is research, it is writing and reading emails, it is discussions, it is getting to know your tools. It is just so little about actually writing, and the writing itself is very technical and strategic. But knowing that with your work, you indeed contribute to making services and products more available and more inclusive and more accessible to people can make up for it. Number 4, don't look for less stress. Look for more control. Now, studies have shown that a stressful job is not always a stressful job, because there is good and bad stress. There is a stress that keeps us excited and engaged and it keeps us going, and there is bad stress that feels overwhelming and scary and numbing and paralyzing. And studies show that what makes our job stressful in an emotionally bad, unhealthy way is not a lot of work or tight deadlines. It is being required to do something that goes beyond our boundaries and our control and our autonomy. So, in other words, being controlled by others in our work causes us to have the worst form of emotionally bad stress. And on the other hand, having autonomy in our job, despite working in an environment where we have a lot of things to do, is good for our psychological well-being, as studies show. And boy, can I confirm that for UX writing, because usually we as UX writers have and should have a lot of autonomy. Usually it works like that. We do research, we create voice and tone guidelines, we analyze our target audience, etc., right? And once we have all of this information, we can make autonomous, confident decisions. We don't need anybody to tell us, write it like this or write it like that. And usually we also don't have that, at least when we're working in a healthy working environment. We're getting feedback and input, of course, but no one tells us what to do, what exactly to write. In an unhealthy working environment, however, people might come up to you and tell you, hey, please make it a little funnier. Please write something more brilliant. Please write faster. It shouldn't take that much time. Please write less. Please write more. And this is when our autonomy is taken away from us, which is a very, very frustrating experience, because barely anyone other than you has all the information it takes to write UX copy in your team, because it is your specific job, your specific role to have this information and turn this information into solid writing decisions. The same is true when people don't involve you early on and don't give you all the information that you need, or when they ask you for a last-minute copy work or whatever, okay? All of this creates this feeling of a lack of autonomy that is so psychologically harmful for us. So please, when you look for a job, keep your eyes open for whether or not you will have enough autonomy in your job to write freely. Number 5, this is the last one. Don't look for fun, look for flow. Now, when it comes to perceiving our job as a dream job, really feeling like we are working in a dream job while we are doing the actual job, the things we do on a daily basis must feel right for us. And we all know there is not a job that is fun to do for 8 hours a day all year. That is just unrealistic. And if you're looking for a job that is 100% fun all the time, you will never find one. So it's not about searching for a job that is fun all the time. This is just not what we're doing. Instead, and this is what research suggests, look for something that gets you in a so-called flow state, that gets you to do a task and lose yourself in it. So forget time and space and just let yourself go and be productive. And when you're done, you can look up, smile, see the results, and be proud of yourself. This is what makes us happy at work, according to research. And there is an interesting quote from an article that summarizes a variety of studies about happiness in the workplace that says, engaging work is work that draws you in, holds your attention, and gives you a sense of flow. It's the reason an hour spent editing a spreadsheet can feel like pure drudgery, while an hour spent playing a computer game can feel like no time at all. And what we need for that is the freedom to decide how we do our work, clear tasks with a clearly defined start and end, a certain variety in the types of tasks, and feedback so that we know whether or not we're on the right track, okay? These factors will get us into a flow state. And these factors are also, quote, the most empirically verified predictors of job satisfaction. So this is what we need to look for, okay? And of course, this is especially true for UX writers because our job includes a lot of collaboration and communication, which sometimes makes it hard to get into a flow state. So make sure that you have enough time for researching and writing in peace without being interrupted by meetings or requests, because that will ultimately allow you to get into a flow state. So definitely see if you have enough focus time in your job, and also make this a priority while managing your day, because ensuring that is as close you can get to a real dream job. Now, of course, there are also more factors than just these, and each one of these factors have a different weight for each one of us. So make sure you pay close attention to what helps you being happy with your job. And also, not all of these factors need to be given in order for you to perceive your job as a good job for you, okay? However, in general, I think having specific factors at hand, like these 5 factors that we've just discussed, is far better and far more effective than just working with a vague concept of the dream job. So what are your individual factors that make your job a good job? Let me know in the comments, and also let me know what you think about the 5 factors that we have just discussed. Also, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, where I post free tips and tricks about writing in tech and UX writing in particular. And as always, keep on writing, enjoy the process, and I hope to see you sometime soon.